Okay, hi guys. Super excited to have you here today. Today is going to be a profound one. It's going to be a nice one. Some persons are sharing. But what we have today, so this is going to be a very cool session. We are going to walk you through SLA customization and configuration on custom tables in Dataverse. That means, uh, let's say you have your own predefined tables, right? And you brought that table in Dataverse, but for some reason you want SLA to be performed on any record for that table. So this session is going to walk you through that end to end. For if your lookout is just let's say SLA on case entity in Dynamics, then you can check out my video on SLA configuration for case entity. But for this, we are going on custom entities or any other entity that's already on the CRM and doesn't currently have SLA and you want to put SLA on it. So this video will be good for you. So as always, if you've not subscribed, do have to subscribe. Hit on the subscribe notification. Also hit on the notification bell so that you'll be among the first set of persons that gets to receive notification when a new video from our end is released. And as always, this is Victor, your Microsoft Dynamics CRM consultant. So straight away, we're going to be walking into what we have for today. And as always, we always have a business case on ground. So for today, our business case is that our organization has a custom table called product delivery. So whenever a customer requests for a product, right, and they've paid us, excuse me, as the case may be, we want uh, to assign an SLA to that delivery. So we're going to be having a timer to read from when the product was logged on the system for that customer until when it is delivered. So we're going to be walking you through each of that in a bit. So let's look at our table that we will be creating, the custom table we creating on CRM and how it looks like. So I have something here already prepared. Okay, cool. So as we can see, this is our table name will be product delivery or something like that. So these are some of the columns we'll be having. We'll having the delivery ID, the order ID, the customer ID, product ID, so product name, let's say quantity requested, delivery date, delivery status, estimated delivery, and also you can your table can have as much as the fields you would love to display on them. So for us, we'll just create all these and make them put them on our form. Then we'll now see how SLAs can be applied to custom entity. So straight away, I'll just drag this to my other screen. So from here, I'll now walk you through how we're going to be creating our custom entity. Also, if you want in-depth on how to work with custom entity in Dynamics CRM, you check my previous video on custom entity creation. So I'll just go down to the advanced settings. So we have a advanced settings open. So what we'll be going straight is to customize the system. But as usual, you could go through your make the power apps. If you're working with a solution, but in this case, I'll just go through customizing the system. Then I'll just say customize the system. All right. So our first thing is in regards to our entity. So we want to create a new entity. So I'll hit on new here. So I can create a new entity. So we're going to pass in the display name. So I'll go with my Excel sheet. We are calling it product delivery. And so the plural name will just make it product deliveries, right? We're going to leave everything as default. So also you could specify where you want to display these, in your the entities you the place you want to display these entities. Is it in sales, customer service, marketing, or at some given point in time you enable it on uh, that environment on that module. So I'm just going to leave everything as default. But the key thing I want to bring up here is the enable for SLA. So you see, I've checked the check mark for enable for SLA. So this is key because this is where all the functionality for it having an SLA will now be tied with. Also, if you want it to track activities, right, you could also just use the check mark of activities. You could also allow people to put notes, but you just adding things that you think might be necessary. But the key thing here is the enable for lesson. So I'm going to leave what I've selected thus far, and I'm going to click on save. So our entity is creating, which is a custom table. So it's creating the custom table on Dataverse. So I'm going to give it some couple of seconds so that it creates. Great. So our entity is done creating. So now we will head straight to creating our different columns in our table. So we just go to fields. So I'll click on new. And the first here is I want something called delivery ID. It will be a unique ID of. So this delivery ID, I want it to be searchable and I want it to be business required. So I'm going to leave this is going to be an integer phone number. To make it, yeah, let's make it phone number, that's fine. And let's see, we can change the format. Okay, sorry, okay. So I think it's fine. I just click on save and close. So we go to the next one. The next one to create is called order ID. So if the person order, the order ID for the other person is something like that format. So we could leave this as text so that we could make it text and numbers. So the order ID also could be business required. Is this searchable? Yes. We'll leave this is and save and close. The next I'll do customer ID. So for this customer ID, we could leave it so that we use the customer lookup view. So what we'll do here is we'll do this. And customer ID will actually be a customer, something like this. And this will actually be a lookup view. You could pick the customer directly. So this is pick customer, this is searchable, and this is business required. So that ties the person you're delivering this product to. Then you click save and close. And the next will be your product ID. So this will be the identifier for the requested product. So we need the product ID now. Also for this one, this is the alphabet. So we'll leave everything as default product ID, yes, the business required, leave everything as it was same and close. And product name also, this is here, product name, business required, save and close, quantity requested, this is business required, this will be roll number, save and close, then delivery date, for this one, we could leave it optional. Then you come and look at date and time and do save and close. Request date. Could also do this. Request date, something like this. Then date and time, save and close. Delivery status. Repeat this. It's the same delivery status. So we want this to be an option set, right? So what we want to have is we want to have pending. So we want to have how many? One, two, three, four, three, four. So the first here is pending. The next here is shipped. So we'll be tracking how the item is moving. The next is delivered. So if it's delivered, that's when we want our SLA to be. That would be the condition to that our SLA is met. So within the time frame we want it to get delivered. And the last one, let's say the item was cancelled. Great. So just this status will be optional. So we see on close. Then the next is you can leave every other thing, just shipping provider, tracking number, delivery notes, and all those. Okay, let's say shipping provider. So let's try to track what shipping provider you're using for that product. Things like that. But yeah, people can have different fun stuff, right? So just save this and close. Delivery address. This actually expected to be the customer's address, but in case another different address is to be provided, then just save this and close. Leave all those ones as optional. Then tracking number. So all stuff like this. Just leave everything. Alright. So basically we have our table configured. So let's also place all this information on our form. So go to the form, which will display whenever you're entering this information. So we're going to our main form. Yeah, so this main form. If you want a cooler, much cooler interface, you could just go to make the power of the form, make the power apps the form, right? When you get to make the power of the form, so we make the power of the form, ensure that you're an environment that you're working on. So in the environment, then you just go to solutions. Then go to solution you're working. For now, I'm working with default, so I'll just go to default. Then in default here, I'll look for tables, tables. This is tables. Then I'm looking for product delivery. That's the name of our table that we just created. And to search here, there's a product. So you can see how this is the table we created. So I'll just click on product delivery and columns. Columns is are the same thing as fields from where we're coming from. And as you can see, you'll be able to see most of the ones we created. You can see the delivery address, delivery date, delivery status, customer, and all the fun stuff, tracking number and the rest, shipping provider. So what we wanted to have is uh, form. We wanted to bring all those stuff into our form. So this interface is more cooler, depending on what you want. So and it's easy to do your drags here and there. So let's use this. All right, so these interviews are what we're working with to put our form into. So this timeline is where when we were creating the entity, we checked on our activities. So this is where we tracking whatever was done on this specific record. So the person is being moved, is being shipped, is being updated, all those different stuff that are on activities. You send an email to the customer and find them with the tracking number and all that will be on this specific product delivery. All that will be tracked here. So let me just bring in some of the things we created and remove these ones. Let me delete this. So if I select these, I hide them. This is the owner of that record. So let me just take it off here. That on the owner. So you can leave it just in there. I can still call this. Let me just drag what we need. We need the customer, right? We need delivery address. We need delivery date. We need delivery ID. Things like this. Then delivery status. Okay, so we drag this. So I think we can decongest this. So what I'll do is I'll take this one out. Just a minute. So I'll bring it there. So this will be the owner. What again? We'll set this. Okay. So we can just recall this product name, right? So that's been for this. We'll still also pass and other ID and go down to product ID, right? And the product name for now we take it again. Then quantity requested, just to drag everything, shipping provider, tracking number. I think that's basically it. What again? Really? Okay, so this is fine. So what we can do is to save and publish this. So we're saving and publishing. Okay, so also since We want the delivery status to be something that will be changed. So let's keep it somewhere that will be very visible. It's down here. Yes. So with that, we can easily just change the delivery status for that product. And I think that should be okay. Then we can just say within our publish. All right, great. So we are done creating our entity. We've updated our form. So now let's add our entity to one of the apps, maybe customer service, and then from there we will now see our form in action. Then we'll now go to the juice of our story, which is to create the uh, SLA for this, the custom SLA for this. So let's go back to application. Just come here. Then we want to do that on the customer service. So it's customer service hub. So you do this, you do open app designer. Alright, so we have our app designer open. So it's still loading. So where we want to drop this on, let's drop this under, let's say, service, right? So you go to service and you click on new. You want to drop a Dataverse table, click on Dataverse table. It's loading. So it's requesting us to confirm which table we're trying to add. I want to add the product delivery. So let me use this search and say product delivery. This one. So I check it and add. So you can see our product delivery table now, right? And this is where it's going to be. It's going to be under service. Active product delivery. So I just click on save. And after saving, I'll publish. Then we'll go back to customer service hub and we're going to see our app, our table showing there. So you could also use this in your Power Apps. So you can call this table from your Power Apps, as the case may be, depending on what you're doing. So if you're working on Dynamics 365 customer service for the model-driven apps, then this is how you have those visible. So after saving, I'm going to publish now. So I'm publishing. All right, so I'm done publishing. So now let's go and see our table in customer service hub app. So let's click on customer service hub. It's coming up. All right, so this is loading and it's done loading. Services. Let's refresh this. So the publish is not done. Yes, so it's here now. So as you can see, we are hovering the mouse. You can see product delivery. So I click on product delivery now, and I can let's try adding a new product. So when I do new, it brings up our form with all our requested information, right? So you put in the product name, customer, so you can tie the customer to this now, the product ID, delivery ID, product name, the order delivery, all those fun stuff. So now our custom table is ready. Now, how are we going to apply SLA to this? Such that when you create a product delivery, right, and you want to tie an SLA that start counting that from when the product delivery was captured to when the product is expected to be delivered. So when the status here is changed to delivered, then it meets the SLA. If it's not, then the SLA and the timer elapses, then the SLA is done. So the first thing we're going to be doing is to create our KPI instance lookup. So the KPI instance lookups helps you to capture an instance of your SLA KPI as against that entity. So that will be like the lookup that ties both of them together. So now let's go back to any of the form we're working on. So let's say we use this. Which one do you already have open to use? Let me just use one of these. This, this is entity, no? One that people were working on. Yes, this is product review. So you go to form, you go to fields. Let me show you how that is created on this thing. We want to come back to this form, so I don't want to just leave here. So let me just still use this. So click on new. So this is your field now, right? Click on new. So I'll call this product delivery KPI, right? So this is actually going to be a lookup. And what we are looking up the the SLA KPI instance. So I'll just go down to the target record, click on this, then scroll down to SLA KPI instance. So this, right? So you click on this and bam, we're done. So you click on save and close. So allow this to create the lookup link. Okay, so we are done creating our SLA lookup instance. So now the next thing we're not going to be doing is we're not going to be creating a tab section on our form, right? That will help us with our SLA view. So the first thing we're going to be doing is to add the default one out of the box. So let me go to our form interface that we have this. So what I want to add is a new tab. So I'll go to components. This is loading. So I want to add a one column tab. Yeah, one column tab is fine. So I'm going to call this tab SLA, something like this, right? I want this to go out. So let me just okay, let me save and I'll refresh so that this clears out. Save and then refresh. Okay, so with this is where we are now. We've created our SLA tab. So what we want to add is what we call our SLA, the SLA view, what will be displaying what the SLA currently is. And it's actually going to be a quick view. So we're going to add in components. And what we are adding is a quick view. And this quick view is related from the SLA instance. So it's that instance that actually we're looking for. So it's what we're calling the product quick delivery KPI. And what we are looking for there is so we have different views, right? So I'll put the first. So there's some default ones that are available, which is the first response SLA. You have the resolve by SLA and different things. So you can create your own view, which is what I'll be working us through to go and do now on the SLA KPI on the SLA instance. So let's say we want the first response, right? We'll add this as done. So this one will give us maybe like the um, time tracker. So a time tracker or I could just remove this and let's say what we want is actually resolved by. So resolved by, let's say, counts when it was delivered. So let me say I put a preview, I come here, I select API instance, and I come here, I click resolved by, and I click on done. So this is going to give us that vanilla control. So let me just save and publish this. Okay, so it's done for publishing, but So let's say you don't. These are not the things you want to track more things from your SLA, right? There's more than what you just have from the default quick view we have from the SLA KPI instance. So what you can do is let me duplicate this, or let me do this. Let me go again to make a file to come. Make a file to come. All right, so we're there. Go to solutions again. Then I'll just quickly go to default solution. So if you don't have a solution you're working with, so you actually doing all this inside. So I'll go to my tables, from my tables. So I'll just search for SLA instance. This is what I'm looking for. And I'm going to go to views. So you could see the views we were actually making reference to. This two loading, it's loading. Yeah. So the views we're actually making reference to this business. Very good. Yeah, so okay, not here. We're looking at the forms. Yeah. So this is the first response quick view form we're looking at. So you have the option of creating yours, right? And displaying the items you want to see on your SLA point. So let's create a new quick view form. So let's create a quick view. So with this, I can now call out a list of items from this record based on the relationship that has been created. So let's just say what we want. You can just put, so you have a list of things that you have available here. So let me just put some. Let me just call these SME details, right? So that's what I'll call this. So let's say I want active duration. So how long this SLA was active, something like this. Then let's say we want another the time that's elapsed thus far on that SLA. Then let's go down. Let's say we want the time it was succeeded. I want to capture all that so that the persons working on it can see also what's the current status of the SLA. I'll put that at the top here. Then, so there are different things based on what you want to display. I could put the terminal reach. So let me see what I can put. You can also put failure time in case it was if it failed. And I think this is basically okay. So I could just save. So what I will call this is let me just call this product delivery SLA KPI instance, right? So let's save and publish. So now after saving and publishing this, we'll then proceed back to our product delivery form, the SLA section we have. We are now going to call we're going to call this quick view on it in addition to the resolve by quick view which we called earlier on. So I think we're done saving this, right? It's done. So let's go back to our form. So this is where we called the resolve by. So now let's add another one. So let's say I add another quick view. So the lookup is the product delivery KPI. And now what we're looking for is this product delivery SLA KPI instance quick view. So we can add this also. I'll click on done. So this is going to bring all those information that we listed out on that form. So all of them are going to be appearing here. For now, because it's not available. So we'll save and publish. So we are done with the aspect of putting all that is needed in place, right, for the form of our custom entity. So now we're now going to define the time and also the SLA instance and items that we now need to be able to take care of this our entity. So now we go back to customer service hub. You go back to your environment. So now you now go to your admin center, go to customer service admin center. So the first thing we're going to be creating SLA KPI for this entity. So I'll go to service times, click on service times. So we're going to create the KPI that tracks this um, instance we just create. So I'll just call this new. And I'll call this, let's say this is, let me use the name we're using here. Call this product delivery, right? Call this product delivery KPI, right? So now you now select the entity name. So now what we want is product delivery. I want to the product delivery here. Now the KPI field we're looking out for, that's the KPI instance we created. Now it's applicable from when the record is created. So when the record is created, that's when we want this SLA to kick in. So I'll click on created on. So we're done with creating our SLA KPI. I'll now click save and close. So you could also have, okay, just continue anyway. So we could also have, but when you create your SLA, it's automatically inactive. So what you need to do is go to inactive, select the SLA KPI, then activate it. So I'll click on activate. Then you now navigate back to active, and you now see the SLA KPI that we just created. So now when you're done creating an SLA KPI, you now go back to creating your SLA itself. So this is now the actual time, right? That tracks, okay, how long the timer should go before it says, okay, your SLA was not met, your SLA was breached, and all that. So I'll then proceed to this, and I'll do a new. So I'll call this product delivery SLAs, right? And the primary entity we're looking at here is the product delivery entity. On the description, we can see this is the SLA items for product delivery, right? So I'll save this. So now that we're done saving it, I'll now create new SLA and a new SLA item. So we're going to be using a general item. So let's just call this product SLA. Or let's say product delivery SLA, something like this. So the instance where the KPI we're looking for is this because we've already specified the entity that we're looking at, and this is the only SLA KPI for this. So click on this. So you could say, do you want to allow pause and resume? So you could pause your SLA and resume it as the case may be. You want to do custom time calculation. If you have business hours, you need to set the business hours so that the SLA use that to calculate. So for instance, let's say your business works from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., you need to introduce that so that when the SLA is calculating, if for instance someone logged a request, right, and it's supposed to, the SLA will start counting from there, but it will take considerance of your time away from the office in in calculating when the SLA is expected to be breached because you notify your customer that you have a business working hours. But in the case of product delivery, you might want to give them an expectation of when. So depending on what you have, so that's where you come here to set. So you can check my previous video on SLA creation to know that for on how you can add business hours and all those fun stuff. So the next thing we're going to be doing is applicable when. So this tells us when this SLA will kick in. So I just want to put this that whenever the record is created, if the created column has a value, then this should kick in. Created on whenever this contains a value, contains data, it should kick in, right? Then success criteria, we want to use our delivery status. I think that's what we call it. Delivery, what's the delivery status? It's, yes, this one. And we want it when it's equal to delivered. So your SLA is met. So if the, the the person on that record, let's say your field service personnel, toggles your delivery status to delivered, then and the time is still counting, then the SLA is met. But once this doesn't happen, and within the time frame given, it's not toggled to this, then the it was not delivered within the SLA that was given to the customer. So now your warning time is after how long should you want to notify that okay, this SLA is getting close to this breach time. So since you want to test, be able to test this, let me just put warning time of 1 minute, then we'll put failure after 2 minutes, so that we can test this actually running. So I'll click on save and close. So our SLA item is saving. Good. So now we now have an SLA item. Good. So now we're going to marking this. We're going to be activating this SLA. We're activating it. After activating it, we're going to be setting it as default so that it can pick it. Great. So we're done. Relax. So let's now test what we've done in all the whole long hard work we've done. So let's just confirm that everything is fine. Okay, that's good. So I'll just close this. So now let's go back to customer service hub. Right. Let's just duplicate this tab. So now let's go to customer service hub and see our XLA in action. Right. Super excited to see this. So let's go to product delivery and let's create the record, right? And then let the SLA so that the SLA kicks in and we can see it counting. So let's say, all right, so let's just put in a value here and saying XYZ products, something like this. Oh, yeah, XYZ products, but, right? Let's say this is expected to go to this customer, and the ID is 2WE12345, and the product ID is I5, something like this. Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be the value. Let's just use this. Let's just say here, right? So this is a required something like this. Quantity requested, let's say 4, delivery address, yeah, tracking number, and A to the FT, and shipping provider. Let's say FedEx. And let's say delivery date is expected to be 24. Right? So I've saved this. So we're done creating our record. So now let's see if our SLA is already kicking in. So I'll just go to the SLA tab and click on this. So wow, as you can see now, our SLA is currently running, and our timer is already giving us, which is the result in. It's telling us how long we have, and after which this is going to be a breached SLA. So you can see the SLA details um, we placed in. So you can see status, you see it's in progress. Active duration tells you how long that SLA has been active. The elapsed time, when it was succeeded, failure time. So this is when it's expected to fail. So we could refresh this, and you could see it's still loading. The SLA is still so now we've passed our warning time. So this is the timeline we were speaking about where you could add different things. Let's say add a node. Let's say CX address is not available. Something like this. And let's say unable to Yes, yes, correct address, right? So you can add notes. So all this gives tracking of whatever was done in regards to delivering this. So I want this to actually breach, then we'll create another one and see how we could actually succeed it. You can also send emails from here. Phone calls that was made to the customer can be tracked here. So all the fun stuff you normally have on timeline can be tracked here. So let's just watch this get breached. So you can see now the status has changed to near non-compliance. 5 seconds and less than that. XLA is now expired. You see, we didn't meet necessarily night. The status has changed to non-compliant. So that's just basically how you apply SLA to your customer entity. So now let's create another one and see how this our delivery status here helps us to get this done. So let's go back to product delivery. So I'll go to new. Typing this in. So let's see. It's another person. Product ID. Lead ID. Okay. This, this. So let me just use something right and save. Alright, so this SLA also is kicking in. So when I go back here and I say this is pending, if I save it, you can see that nothing happens here. So when I refresh, nothing happens. So when I go back here and I say product is now delivered and I save this and I refresh, if I go here, you can see now that SLA is succeeded. So how long was this SLA active? You can see that it's about a minute. So elapsed time still zero because it counts it in it was still less than a minute as of when we met yesterday. So it shows you when it was succeeded. So so that's how basically you add SLA to your custom entity. So even if the entity is already in the CRM, you could toggle on the SLA instance do all this configuration I've showed you, and you'll be able to have this view ready for whatever table you have in the CRM. You also extend this to your Power Apps. So on your Power App forms and all that, you could extend the SLA item that you've done so that it tracks. So for instance, you have delivery personnel and or your customer end that you need to track products that have been delivered or whatever table might be. So that is basically how you'll be able to run it. So thank you very much for your time. If you've not subscribed, also ensure that you subscribe. And with that, you'll be able to get quick notification when our videos are released. So thank you very much and see you in the next session. Bye for now.